Here are 10 mistakes that I see all the time in thesis defense presentations, also at conferences and other presentations given by students in college. If you avoid those mistakes, you can get better grades for your thesis or class project. You're going to be more memorable after a conference presentation, which can lead to more opportunities. Number 1 is an unbalanced weighting of the content. Here's what I mean. I think the structure of a thesis defense and most scientific presentations is straightforward. Most students do that right. However, I feel that there's less of a conscious decision about how much time should be allocated to each part. I've seen students talk half of the time about the context of their thesis project. That doesn't include anything about their own contribution. My tip, take your presentation structure and write how much time you want to dedicate to each part. From my experience, 1 out of 2 students run out of time. That's a no-go in conferences. In a thesis defense, it can impact your grade and you may be cut off. I know how you feel. You have so much information that you need to squeeze into such a short presentation. You know that your slides contain too many details, but you're saying to yourself, it will be okay. I'll talk faster to compensate for it. Stop there and do this instead. Rehearse your presentation with a timer. If you're more than 20% over the limit, use a timer to identify how much time you're spending on each part of the presentation. Then reduce the content. I'm not going to make a comment about the number of slides. For a 10-minute presentation, you can have 5 slides packed with details or 50 slides with single pictures. What's more important is picking the appropriate level of detail when you present a piece of content. Often students pack their slides with graphs and formulas. The audience gets a few seconds to grasp what's going on. You looked at your content for several weeks. Give people a chance to follow you. Often less is more. Show 1 or 2 graphs instead of 10 if that's enough to make your point. Highlight what's important with a circle or point to it with an arrow. Explain the essence of your approach with a flow chart instead of bombarding your audience with a dozen formulas. Make sure that all text, graphs, and legends are well readable. Another thing I've found is that many students use long bullet points as the main way of presenting information. I think I know where that comes from. For years, you've attended lectures in which the slides are packed with bullets. Now you assume that this is the way to go. If your professors do it, it can't be wrong if you do it, right? Here's the mistake. The presentation style should match the format. Your professors give up to 3-hour-long lectures every week. They're filled with all sorts of low-level details because that's what needs to be covered. It would be very difficult and time-consuming to make all those slides visually appealing. Only few professors can pull that off. Also, it's on purpose that there's so much additional information on the slides. Students should be able to review the content. On the other end of the spectrum, you have a 3-minute elevator pitch for a business idea. Those slides take a lot of effort to produce. They're visually perfected and focus on core numbers. A thesis defense, a conference presentation, or in-class presentation is somewhat between 10 and 30 minutes long. The content is something you've been working on for quite a while. You don't need all those bullets. You know what you've been working on. Also, rarely someone's going to review your slides after the presentation. Your slides should be on the visual side of the spectrum, but not as extreme as an elevator pitch. You can still use texts and bullets wherever needed, but slides with long bullets that you basically just read during the presentation are a no-go. That brings me to my next point. It's human emotion. Unfortunately, it's often ignored by presenters. A cleaner slide set gives you more room to speak fluently about your experience. I'm not saying you must tell jokes, but you may share a short anecdote. You may add a layer of emotion to your presentation with the right language and expression. This emotion can transfer to your audience and hook them in. Sometimes I'm really captured by a student's presentation if I see the passion. In most cases, that makes the presenter look more confident too. Talking about expression, I think it's time to mention body language, which I will do a separate video about. According to the 7-38-55 rule, just 7% of your message is communicated through words. Your tone of voice contributes 38% and your body language communicates 55% of your message. Still, many students look at the main screen away from the audience. They have their hands in their pockets and stand nervously in the corner. With just a few conscious behaviors, everyone can win an audience. People will find you more confident, competent, and more likable with the right body language. Body language signs are deeply rooted in our subconscious. Believe me, it's worth opening that chapter. Sometimes I see students forget to reference content. It's easy to take care of that. Either provide the sources on the slides or create a list of sources. It's good to have backup slides with some more details. You can anticipate some of the questions that the audience will ask. I've seen it several times that students wish they had another picture or graph to show to answer a question. Backup slides also make it easier to reduce the content of your main slides. It's a good feeling to say to yourself, let me put some of those details in the back just in case someone asks. It's normal to be nervous during a presentation, especially during the less predictable part where you get questions from the audience. Here it often happens that the student misunderstands the question. Then the situation is a little bit awkward because the answer is about something else. It's not always the student's fault. Sometimes the question isn't asked precisely, but the student wants to look confident and thinks that he or she must give an answer to everything. My tip for you is this: if you're not 100% sure what the question is about, simply rephrase it in your own words. The final mistake is not letting your supervisor review your slides in advance. Everyone has a different taste when it comes to presentations. Send your set of slides to your supervisor a week or two in advance. You will get some comments that will help you to eliminate the biggest pitfalls. I hope this video will help you with your next presentation. Share your tips with the other students in the comment section. See you soon.